Hey kids, so today's STEM activity, we are going to be building our own cooler. I know oftentimes if it's a school day, many of us may use an insulated lunch bag or a lunch box because it keeps those things that we need to stay cool or cold at that temperature so that they're good for our lunch. But we want to figure out, how does a cooler keep things cold? Or what is the best type of insulation for a cooler to keep things cold? So what you'll need for this really simple experiment is you're going to need a couple of Rubbermaid containers. They can be shallow ones or they could be a little bit deeper, it doesn't matter, but they do need to have lids that are going to fit on them pretty tightly. You can use either ziploc bags, or if you have those small kitchen or bathroom cups that usually swish around mouthwash or rinse out with water, then those cups would work if your Rubbermaid or Tupperware containers are deep enough. You will need some sort of insulation material. So you could use bubble wrap, you could use crumpled up paper. For mine, I chose to use cotton balls. So if you have cotton balls around your house, then this is a good insulation material as well. And then you're going to need some ice cubes, and you're going to need 1 to 2 cubes per container and roughly the same size. So I have my cup of ice ready to go. And the first step that we're going to do is we're going to take our 2 Rubbermaid containers and we're going to lay them out, and I'm going to fill one of them with my insulated material. Now you're going to want to do this experiment in an area where it's either exposed to sunshine or near a vent of some kind. If it is a warm day, then you can go outside and do this experiment just so that you can really test the power of your cooler. And so what I've done is I've left one Rubbermaid container empty, and I have filled my other one with my insulation material. I want to take a couple of my ice cubes. I'm going to use a Ziploc bag just because my containers are a little on the shallow side. So one of those cups isn't going to fit. I'm going to take 2 ice cubes. I'm going to put them in my Ziploc bag. Seal that up. And then I'm going to stick it. Get the air out of the bag. And I'm going to stick it down in my insulated container. So let me push that, and then I want to get that lid on the container. So you see that it's sealed and my insulation is in that. So then I'm going to take my other Ziploc bag and I'm going to get 2 more ice cubes. And I'm going to seal that up. Just getting all the air out. And then I'm just going to let that sit in that container in the bag. I'm not going to put a lid on it for this first part of the experiment. You can do it both ways. You could run the experiment again and put a lid on this second container without insulation. We're going to wait about 15 to 20 minutes, and then we're going to come back and see what actually happens. So stay tuned to part 2 of this experiment and see our results. Hi kids, so we are checking back in on our build your own cooler STEM experiment for today, and it's probably been about 15 to 20 minutes since we started this project. I went and did a couple of errands around the house, and so we're coming back and we're going to take a look at our 2 bags of ice. So the first one that I'm going to look at is our unsealed container. And it's kind of hard to see, but you can see a little bit that one of the ice cubes has completely melted and the other one is more than halfway gone to being melted, which is probably what we expected because it's not insulated, it's an unsealed container, it's pretty warm outside. So, you know, I kind of expected that ice cube, at least both of them, would either be much smaller or have melted. The second container, I see a little bit of condensation on the top, so I'm a little worried that our ice cubes may have melted as well. But I'm gonna open this one up and take all of our insulation and put it to the side. And as you can see, both ice cubes are there, and they're probably about half the size that they were when we started. So this shows us that putting the ice cubes in a sealed insulated container dramatically reduces the amount of heat that it can gain by conduction. Primarily because what we used is the insulating material, the cotton balls, it's not a good conductor of heat. So it reduces that element of conduction. And convection, because the lid is sealed extra tight, the air cannot flow around the ice cube. So it reduces both conduction and convection. If our insulation is opaque, so we can't see through our insulation, it's pretty solid, that also reduces the amount of heat that can be transferred by radiation. And if we did this experiment out in the bright sunlight, that would be more of a factor than it is right now. But just so that you're aware, the type of insulation that you have in your cooler could play effect in that third element of heat transfer with radiation. So grab a couple of containers, get your ice cubes ready, and see what kind of cooler you could build. Maybe try it with a couple of different insulation materials. Like I mentioned earlier, you could use the cotton balls, you could use bubble wrap, crumple up some pieces of paper and put that in as your insulation, and see if you get different results based on the type of insulation that you have in your cooler. So until our next STEM experiment, kind of try and go out and see what you can find on your own, make your own hypotheses about things, and we'll do our next science experiment next time. Have a great day, guys.